Hello, everyone. My name is Shanika Stevenson Davison, owner of Pre-College Solutions, and I'm also the lead consultant. Pre-College Solutions is a college readiness consulting company based in Euless, Texas. And what we do is we help families, nonprofit organizations, parents, family members, and also tutoring companies who just need to know more information about the college readiness process. And so, with that, we also provide various services. We provide one-on-one college prep services. We provide group presentations, academic boot camps, things in that nature. And so, not just to give you such a big spiel about pre-college solutions, because I know you're here because you want to know more about how to get your child college ready at any different age. So we will go ahead and get started with that presentation. Feel free to drop any questions down in the chat or in the comment section, and I will answer those questions. Now, in this session, I am a fan of icebreakers, so we will do just a quick little 5-second icebreaker. Again, this session is called College at Any Age, but it's really a session that I want to just provide small, simple college readiness tips for youth at any age. And when I say any age, I mean starting as young as elementary school all the way until their senior year in high school. So in this session, we're going to do a little icebreaker. I'm going to give you the definition of what college readiness is, because I think there's a lot of misconception between what a college says college readiness is, what we individually think college readiness is, what a high school or a high school counselor may think college readiness is. And so I'm going to outline that official definition. Then we're going to go through different things that you can do with any youth at any grade level so that if college is in their future, you can get them started on what they need to be doing right now just to get ready. We'll have some Q&A and then we'll wrap up. I promise I will try my hardest not to make this a very long session. I'm not a fan of talking for 30 plus minutes or so. So I'm going to try to get us through this. So this is the icebreaker that I was talking about. It's one of my favorite icebreakers, but this is just a snippet of it. It's called the cost of senior year. And so in the comments section or even in the chat, if you could tell me how much you think an average household spends on one high school senior during their senior year, how much do you think that is? And I'll tell you what's kind of like the United States average household average. So I'll give you 5 seconds. 5 seconds, put it in the chat. You can put it in the comment section. And just let me know, what do you think is the average? Okay, I see some guesses. Okay, I see a guess in Zoom. Okay. All right, so the 5 seconds is up. The typical average dollar amount a household spends on a high school senior for their senior year range between $5,000 to $10,000. And I know you heard that and you're like, what? But you have to think about it. There's a cost tied to everything that your high school senior does. There's senior pictures, which may cost hundreds of dollars. There's the outfits you have to buy for senior pictures. There's props. There's the graduation. There's the graduation gown. There's a graduation outfit. There's prom. There's, if your child does decide they want to go to college, you have to pay those application fees. You have to pay the housing deposit. You have to pay the enrollment fee. Not to mention all the field trips that seniors take advantage of their senior year, all the different end of the year celebrations, homecoming. I could go down the list and I could just go down the list, but there are a lot of costs tied to senior year. And what I like to tell parents is that make sure you enter senior year with a plan, because your child will make you think that they need to be a part of every celebration, every last thing, every last moment. And those dollars that's leaving your household to help them have the best senior year ever could be money that could be going towards college, or at least slim down on some of the activities that they do, or do them at a minimum cost, because those are thousands of dollars that you're going to need. If they do decide to go to college, you're going to need that money to help them pay to move in, to help them get started with their freshman year. So just keep that in mind. So now, what is college readiness? So in the industry that I'm in, which is education consulting, we define it as the ability students, let me rephrase that, the ability for students to demonstrate the knowledge and skills required to successfully complete their freshman level college courses. Basically, it's knowing that your child can academically and also have life skills so that when they go off to college, they can successfully complete their freshman year. Because study shows that if they can complete their freshman year and their sophomore year, they have higher chance of completing college. I think when I looked at the statistics, it was like 50% of freshmen triculate to graduating with a 4-year degree, but if they get the sophomore year, it goes up to 67%. So if you can just get them the skills, the knowledge, the readiness, so that they can get through freshman year, they stay motivated to finish college altogether. So that is the definition of college readiness for our industry. And so that's what we try to do as education consultants, college prep coaches, is to at least make sure that they are ready for college freshman year, to complete freshman year. So let's dive into the tips that I feel you can use to get your child college ready at any age. And there are a lot, so I'm going to go through them pretty quickly. If you have a child in your household and they are an elementary school student, meaning they are first grade through, I'll say fifth grade or sixth grade, and of course, some of you may be thinking, wow, my child's not even thinking about college at that age. And I'm not either. I'm just trying to enjoy them at the youthful, innocent age, playful age they are right now. And that's fine. We're not saying you've got to start drilling college into their head and, saying this is what you need to be doing. These are just small little tips or small little things that you can do so that once they become a middle school student or high school student, it's not like they get hit with, what is college? What is that? I've never heard of that before. So the first thing I recommend is summer camps. So summer camps are amazing. If you have elementary school students and you notice that they have a joy for math and science, even a joy for cooking at such a young age, find them a summer camp that can see if they are really passionate about it or if that can enhance their skills. What we've learned in this profession is that the earlier you find out what your child's passion is, what it is they feel like is their life purpose, the it'll be so much easier when they get into high school and it gets time to start looking at colleges, when it's time for them to start thinking about career choices, because they will already be familiar with what they already like, what they already know they're passionate about, what they want their life, what they want their career to be. So I highly recommend summer camps. And if you can find free ones, those are amazing as well. Take your kids on college tours. I can't stress that enough. College tours are an eye opener. It introduces the conversation about college. You can let them know about, like, people live on campus. This may be where your aunt or your uncle or even I went. We went to this school and this is why this school is important. Number 3, college apparel. I cannot tell you how many times I've helped college students or high school students, and when they're writing their essays for college, and I ask them, hey, why do you want to go to Baylor University? And they talk about how like their family, how they have, Baylor shirts. They've always had, Baylor attire. I had one young man, he's a sophomore right now, and he was telling me the story about his uncle gave him a trinket from Texas Southern University, and like he's kept it. And Texas Southern University is now like on his apply list, and he's a sophomore. So those things like that, kids keep those things. They keep that in their memories. They keep it in their heart. So make sure that a college apparel. Make sure you purchase some. I'm a firm believer that if you can buy your child a Nike shirt, some Jordans, you can get them a college shirt to wear around the house. And then number 4, I cannot stress this enough: the importance of reading. I work with so many high school students who hate to read. And it didn't always start off like that. They really loved reading when they were younger because I guess it was the initial learning how to read and the excitement. But as high school students, a lot of them they don't like to read. And so I recommend that you just keep it so important to them. Let them know that they need to be reading 30 minutes a day or however in your household you have it set up. But I also encourage that when you are, encouraging reading, that you allow some dialogue, some conversation, some critical thinking. As early as you can start getting them to read, start allowing them to be able to talk about what they're reading. We as adults, we do book clubs, but you can do a book club with your elementary aged kid, just asking them what they get from the book, who's the author, what did they think, things like that. So I highly encourage reading. Middle school students. So if you have a middle schooler in your house, they are way different from elementary school students. I like to say that they're a young adult. Like you can't treat them as a high school student, but you definitely can't treat them as an elementary school student. So these are the students that are like so ready to just be adults yet, but you can't give them the full responsibility of giving them adults. And these are just some small tips that you can start encouraging them to think about college or, just implement around the household so that they're, aware. Um, Number 1, the same as elementary school students. So same things I just listed for the elementary school students, you can do the same thing with the middle school students, just on their level. So, you can buy them a shirt from a different college. You can give them apparel, take them on college tours, stress reading, but I also encourage that you stress writing, which is number 2. Um, Typically in middle school is when they get introduced to essay writing. And in my opinion, this is my opinion, not fact, but I think that's where most of our students start to decrease their like in kind of reading and writing. I don't know if because they assume it's boring or because it's hard work, or maybe it's because, they're not being taught the way they need to be taught because there's different levels of teaching and learning. But writing is a very crucial skill. I tell this to even to interns that I work with now, how crucial the reading and the writing component is to any job that they'll ever have to do. You're going to have to learn how to write. So you can do something as simple as having your middle schooler send you emails. If they can send you a text message, they can definitely send you an email. So have them send you emails so they can just get familiar with sending emails, how to write them, how to address people. Have them write paragraphs, thank you letters. An activity I like to do is that I like to get middle schoolers to write thank you cards to the elderly who are in nursing homes. And, it lets me see how their spelling level is, how their comprehension. I have to tell them, okay, this is your audience. You can't write it like how you would write it for your friend. You have to write it in this manner. So make sure you're pushing writing. Also, make sure you're pushing presentation skills, which is my number 3. And this is like a thing I like to tell parents with the presentation skills, because If you've ever had a family reunion or a family function, and that is a perfect opportunity to get your child to get up and speak in front of everyone. And yes, they're going to be nervous. That's why they need you there, mom, dad, guardian, you professional, to kind of guide them through that so that going to school and giving presentations at school won't be so hard for them. There are so many kids who shy away from public speaking. And I feel like public speaking is something that is not a necessity to be successful or to push through college, but most likely your child's going to be in group presentations while they're in college. They're going to have to be able to do individual presentations. If your child decides to get a doctoral degree, they're going to have to do a dissertation. So the earlier you can get them building that self-confidence to present in front of people and just feel comfortable and be aware, that is that's a skill that they can do possibly anything with. So work on those things. And if you need a quick tip on how to get your child to get excited about presentation skills, just contact me. I can tell you some tips that I use. And number 4, career exploring. Now, I didn't introduce with elementary. I just said, find their passion, but sometimes you get middle school students and they feel like they know what they want to do. The typical things: a teacher, a doctor, um, a scientist, an engineer, and they say these things, but they really don't know what these jobs are. And there's nothing wrong with that. But this is the perfect opportunity for you to introduce them to that. I encourage job shadowing as like one of the top things to do to middle school students. And just reach out to someone in the field. You'd be shocked how many professionals don't mind spending an hour, 2 hours a day, a half a day, um, allowing your child, your middle schooler, just to learn more about their profession, just to see if they even like it. My thing is, I like to um, schedule for middle schoolers to go and go job shadow, and then I like to talk to them afterward and ask them if they liked it, what was the best part, and if they say they hated it, you've just eliminated one of their choices, which means who knows if they would have stayed with their choice through high school, through college, and ended up hating what they're doing. So you just help them cut down on their list. And now you're able to, push them to where they may want to be, where their passion is, what their amazing career that they want to choose is. So now we're getting to the high school students. And so let's look at freshman year. So these high school years, this part is mainly for the parents, the guardians, because I think it's not always communicated once your child goes to high school how to get them ready. It's looked at as something that don't worry about that to junior year. Don't worry about that to senior year. Well, usually when you wait that long, that's too late because you need to start as soon as they get into high school because that's when colleges and universities start looking at your child. They want activity resumes, which are just documents of what your child has done when they've been in high school, like the extracurricular activities, if they got jobs, if they volunteered. And if your child started junior year, that means they're going to ask, well, what were they doing the first 2 years of high school? So these are just some tips that I like to give out, just to, put your child in the college readiness mode because it really starts, I want to say middle school, depending on the school, but it really hits freshman year when they enter into high school. So I'm gonna go really quickly. First, learn the grading hierarchy. So that means learn about advanced placements courses, dual credit courses. If your child is in a honors course, because that grading hierarchy, those are given certain higher points than if your child gets a regular is in a regular grade. So if your child is like in advanced placement world geography and they get a B, that means more points are going to get added to their GPA because they decided to take what is considered a more difficult class. It has more academic rigor, so it's tougher than a regular course, and so they get kind of more grace points on their GPA. And so a lot of parents don't know that, or they learn it way late where it's time for their child to already start going to college or the senior year. So learning the grading hierarchy is key because a lot of us look at the GPA and then we're like, what does the GPA mean? We don't know if it's a good GPA or a bad GPA. Number two, use those holiday breaks for volunteering or job shadowing opportunities. I can't stress that enough. Those breaks after the first couple of days, those teenagers are probably already zoned out, watching Netflix on their phone, all of that good things. What better way than allow them to volunteer or to at least let them job shadow someone and help them out during these breaks? Number three, learn the importance of the PSAT. The PSAT, if you don't know, it's like a primary test or like a test before you take the SAT. And if your child scores extremely well on the PSAT, they are considered what is called a National Merit Scholar, which means they receive so many scholarship opportunities and so many different offers from different universities that'll pay for them to go to their school. And I think that's not pushed enough. But usually you can take the PSAT your sophomore year. Um, Depending on the school you go to, they may offer it your freshman year, but what they look at is really junior year. So you can take it all 3 of those years, depending on the school you go to. And if you are considered a National Merit Scholar, then just wait for the awards to start pouring in, the offers and awards. And then select at least one extracurricular activity. Um, if your youth is interested in church, then that could be their extracurricular activity. If it's sports, that's one. Band, the list goes on and on and on. But they need at least one extracurricular activity that they can be a part of that they really like. All right, sophomore year. Create an activity resume. I kind of said this earlier about it being a document that you keep up with everything you've done during high school. Typically by freshman year, sophomore year, if you wait to complete this your junior year, most students have forgot everything they've done freshman year and sophomore year, especially if they were like overly involved. So I suggest sophomore year you start creating it. Not you, but your teenager needs to at least create a list so they can keep track of all the things they've done. Because when it's time to do your college application, they're going to want to know the dates you did it, how many hours you did it, what was your role, what was your responsibility. They're going to want to know all those details. And if your child has forgotten, you do not want to lie on any college application. So make sure that you start having them write out everything they've done in high school starting sophomore year and just keep track of it every year. All right, number two, take them on at least 1 to 2 college tours, and it has to be colleges that they've stated they're interested in. And if they haven't told you they're interested in any, then have a conversation with them. They have to like one, one or two, unless they're not interested in going to college. If they're not interested in going to college, then I suggest you take them on a college tour to a community college because they have an array of different certification programs, and your child may be interested in one of those. Or your child may want to start off at a community college versus starting off at a 4-year university. So still take them on a college tour. Have them to take the SAT or the ACT, but later in their sophomore year. I'll talk about that more when we talk about junior year. And then what I like to call have little check-ins with them. Students that I work with, I love to talk to them about just different things such as diversity, time management, stress, money management, because these are life skills that when they go to college, they're going to need to know these things too. I know we focus a lot on the academics side of college, and okay, you make good grades, that's good. But depending on where your child ends up going to college, they're going to have to be okay with diversity or lack of diversity. Time management, they're going to have to need to know how to manage their time, stress. There are so many alarming rates of college students taking their own life because they're not able to handle stress well. And of course, money management, especially if they decide they don't want to, mess with student loans. Junior year, this is what I like to call the last academic year. And so what that means is that when your child applies for college, their senior year, colleges only look at from freshman year to the end of junior year, their like academic record or their transcript from then, because you're applying the fall of your senior year. So no senior year grades have been created yet. So they're only looking at what you've done freshman year to sophomore, freshman year to junior year. So not saying senior grades don't count, because they do, but I'm just saying in order to get into the university, they're only looking at freshman year to junior year. So make sure that they knock junior year out the park academically. And then have them make a list of colleges, 3 to 5, that they are very interested in. And then, if possible, take them on a tour if they haven't already toured these colleges. Have them ask those questions that they need to ask about, is their major there? Um, what is the graduation rate? How much does these universities cost? So this is a chance for you to make those lists and get more into detail about why do you want to go to these schools, or why did these schools make your list. And then my favorite, make sure that they complete at least one scholarship. If you're going to be a parent or a guardian that's going to heavily push your child through scholarships, well, then I think junior year, you should get them started on at least completing one. Because what I've learned, what happened is that you tell them senior year, do scholarships, do scholarships, do scholarships. Most of them don't even know how to start. They don't know how to research. They just don't know, and they don't have anyone to guide them. Like, you're telling them to do it, but they've never had to do it before. And it's just like driving. Like, you have to show them how to drive. You can't just tell them to drive. And I feel that's the same way with scholarships. So you have to help them, or find someone who can help them at least do one. And then once they do that one, they'll be more confident to continue and do more of them. So that's junior year. Now, going back to what I said about sophomore year and the SAT and the ACT. So I suggest that your child takes the SAT and ACT the end of their sophomore year, because junior year, um, well, I'll say sophomore year, that's kind of like a tester. That's kind of like, okay, this is where my child is at academically. And junior year is like, okay, is where this is me, your child taking your SAT or ACT their junior year, the spring or the summer of their junior year. That is when this is what's going to be the score that they send to college. So if you have them take it their sophomore year, you can work on getting them some tutoring. You can find out what areas they need more prep in, and you can work that through their their junior year. And then junior year, they will be so ready to take the ACT or the SAT, so that they can make the scores they need to make. And then, of course, senior year. And senior year is a whole thing. it's a whole array of things. And I just wish that I could just get every parent in the world ready for senior year. Because there's laughter, there's joy, there's tears, there's anger. You go through all the emotions with your child's senior year. But I'm just going to give you some college prep. This is not everything. This is just a small glimpse. Um, so my suggestion, and I highly encourage, if this is the summer before your child's senior year, if you can get them to start working on college applications, getting them to complete it, you would have been, you will, can't even talk. See, this is why I don't talk for long periods of time. You would have already been about 75% ahead of the game, if you can get them to complete all of their college applications by summer, because the Common App opens August the 1st. And so your child can be working on these college applications before school starts in late August or early September. And because once the senior year starts, this will get put on the back burner by your child. They're going to start thinking about, if there is sports, they're going to start thinking about sports. They'll start thinking about homecoming. The next thing you know, it's like the winter breaks. It's just going to be a triple effect, and it's going to be harder to get them to finish them. That's why I highly recommend, if you can get them to finish them in the summer, try your hardest to get that done. Another thing, a suggestion, have them to check their email every day. There are some kids who are really good about this, and then there are some kids they just assume everything will be communicated to them via text. So make sure that your child is checking their email every day, because they may get something, they may get an important email about a scholarship through their email, or they may even get a email from a college saying, hey, we still need your transcript. Your transcript's not in. So they need to be checking it every day. Get the FAFSA completed as early as possible, and everyone needs to complete the FAFSA, not just kids or families who say, I need the FAFSA. Everybody needs to complete the FAFSA. And the FAFSA opens October the 1st. And then finally, if you know that you're going to make your child do scholarships, come up with a scholarship application plan. And what I mean by that is, who's going to help your child research what scholarships they need to apply for? How many do you want them to apply for a week, a month? Who's going to remind them of deadlines? Things like that. Like, come up with a plan. The days of you just telling your child, go apply for a scholarship, that's in one ear out the other. That is not going to happen unless you hold them accountable, and that you are pushing the whip. You are making sure that they do them. And I highly encourage scholarships. Like I said earlier, I've worked with students who have been able to secure scholarships and not had to pay for any college because they got scholarships. And then I've worked with students where they may have received like maybe $6,000 in scholarships, but that $6,000 they didn't have to pay back after they got finished with college. So I'm a big advocate of scholarships. And on our website, Pre-College Solutions, we have a scholarship list for high school seniors that we try to keep updated. So you can always check that. And that is the end of my presentation. So if you have any questions, please put them in the chat, please put them in the comments, and I'll try to answer your questions. One thing that I do want to throw out there is that we will be doing more virtual workshops. Our next one will be on July the 14th. And it's going to be the college application process. So if you just want to know, like, what materials do I need to complete a college application, fees, how am I going to pay for fees, how do we submit scores, you just want to be immersed in how all of this kind of works, I suggest you sign up for that workshop. We have a free adulting workshop for upcoming scholarships, incoming college students and current college students. So make sure you sign up for that. It's August the 1st, and it'll be August the 1st at 7 p.m. And then September the 15th, we have our 6 ways to pay for college, and this is without student loans. So we highly recommend that you apply for those. So make sure you apply for those. I just got a question in the chat, and it says, how early should a senior in high school do the FAFSA? Should they complete it even if they get a scholarship? And the answer to that question is yes. And well, let me start with the first one. The FAFSA application opens October the 1st. So yes, that's when it opens. And yes, even if you're getting a scholarship, you still need to fill it out. Only reason I'm saying that is because the university or college that you may end up going to, they may want to give you more money. I know there's a lot of talk about student loans, but there are schools out there that give grants. There are schools out there that give work study. There are schools out there that give scholarships, and they won't give you any of this unless you completed the FAFSA. So even if you're getting a scholarship or you have a scholarship already, you should still do the FAFSA application. Good question. Thank you. And then one other event that we are doing is a 3-day college application and scholarship boot camp for the class of 2022. Whoop, whoop. The first post-COVID class. So in this 3-day workshop, we'll help you with college applications and activity. Basically, we'll get you ready so that by the end of July, you will be ready to apply for college, or you will apply for college, and you can start your senior year off stress-free because you will be done with the college application process. And finally, just want to give you guys my contact information. Again, my name is Shamika Stevenson Davison. Here's all my contact information below. The best way to find me is through email and through our website. Um, if there are no other questions, I'm going to shut this down. I'm going to shut this down and turn off this live. So I thank you very much for participating, and you guys have an amazing evening.